the Ilkhans or Ilkhanate. Ilkhan means subordinate. It means a subordinate to the great Khan in Mongolia, like a lieutenant, a provincial governor. Now, the Ilkhan dynasty will technically last from 1258, and I'll use 1258 instead of 1256, even though we could say it earlier. Well, give it 1256. I would, 1256 to 1335. But it's going to be divided into two different types of Ilkhans. From 1256 to 1295. From 1256, Ken, you okay? When did I do that? Did I really do that? I'm sorry? Okay, if I wrote it down incorrectly, sorry about that. 1256 is the correct date. And you won't be tested on. If you want to be, I can. You want? Sure. I'm more than happy to give you that if you want to be tested on. 1256 to 1295 will be the rule of the Infidale Ilkhans. They're called Infidale Ilkhans because they have not embraced Islam. In 1295.
Because they what? Why are they called infidel?
Because they do not convert to Islam. They're considered non-believers. Okay, the Ilkhans are not called to be Muslim until 1295. From 1295 to 1335, the Ilkhans will be known as a Muslim Ilkhans, because from 1295 on, they'll start to be Muslim there. Now, don't want to say too much about Hulagu's rule. He's a gifted general, and he's going to basically put Iran under lock and key for himself and his descendants. In 1265, Hulagu will die, and to make sure he's not alone when he's dead, he's going to adopt the Mongol custom of being buried with several beautiful women of the court. And who wants to go to their grave alone, right? That would be normal. Take attractive women with you, and that's what he does. And they're going to be buried alive with him. Okay, I don't know if that'll give him custom of you. Now, I wanted to basically talk to you about the Mongol invasions itself and what the legacy will be in Iran. First of all, the Mongol invasions will have destroyed all of the pre-existing political structures. The Mongol invasions will have destroyed the pre-existing political structures. And it goes even beyond. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by going even beyond. Previously, whenever there's been dynastic change in the Middle East, these dynasties would come and go without disrupting the rhythms of mainstream life. Meaning that if one government took over another, it wouldn't affect you as a peasant very much. It wouldn't affect you as an urban artisan very much. This upheaval would take place at the top, and you wouldn't feel it so much at the bottom. That's not the case with the Mongol and Persians. Okay? The Mongol Holocaust will be very different, as there would be massive destruction of people, livestock, and property. So the Mongol Holocaust will be very different, as there will be massive destruction of people, livestock, and property. You could have lived as a peasant or an urban artisan during the Arab Muslim conquest of Iran and not felt its effects. However, you're going to feel its effects across the board in Iran when the Mongols come. First of all, the Mongols don't give a shit about Muslim culture. They don't give a damn about Arab culture, Iranian culture, they couldn't care less. They care about Chinese culture. So when they basically hit the area, they hit it with force, and when the Arabs come, even though they're not Iranians, even though they speak a different language, the Iranians are familiar with Arabs. They've seen them before. Carlos, wake up, buddy. Okay. And you do your sleeping at home, I hope. And for the most part, nobody really had any eyebrows raised when the Arab Muslims came in as conquerors. However, there could be a lot of eyebrows raised when the Mongols come. They speak a much different language. It's not a close Arabic. Okay, it's basically a Turco-Mongol tongue. Okay, they look physically different, dress physically different. You know that they're not Mongols. Okay, now the areas of Marv and Bal, okay, will never fully recover from the Mongol depredations. Marv and Bal will never fully recover, Erica, from the Mongol depredations, okay? However, Harad and Samarkand will come around, but it's going to take a long time. So Harad and Samarkand will come back, but it's going to take a long time to do so. Now, with regard to what Pamela did ask before, much of the surviving population will be enslaved, especially women and craftsmen. And the latter were often transported far from their homelands to remote encampments in Central Asia. In effect, what happened is certain craftsmen were taken back to Central Asia and the Mongol heartlands to basically help bolster the economies there. The people that would tend to escape the Mongols tended to be the affluent and erudite. The people that tended to escape the Mongols would tend to be the affluent and the erudite, who will use their wealth and knowledge to escape and you're going to see a flow of illustrious refugees. You're going to see a flow of illustrious refugees that make their way to other cities and enrich the intellectual life there. What are these other cities that they escaped to, these Iranian scholars? Cairo, Konya, K-O-N-Y-A, that's in Turkey. Modern-day Turkey, you didn't have the country of Turkey back then, it was the Anatolia. And Delhi in India. Not Delhi as its second Avenue Delhi, where you get your oversized and strong. Now, the culture and education will suffer greatly under the Mongol system, yes. As scholars and teachers will be slaughtered, books and manuscripts will be wantonly destroyed, and colleges will be left desolate. So you're going to basically see the destruction of Iranian intellectual life for the time being. The most disastrous effect of the Mongol devastation outside of people, the most disastrous of the Mongol devastations, excepting that of murdering people, is a deliberate destruction. It's a deliberate destruction of elaborate irrigation systems. These systems that bring water to the fields of Iran and southern Iraq. Stupidity? Yeah.
Maybe they want to create more masters, they want to get rid of agriculture. Because I know that any time his son in order to do the same thing in northern China and Manchuria, and he was talked out of it. That seems to be a Mongol thing. They just wanted more masters for their work.
Yeah. But of course, and it's not a bad thought, but we remember that horses need to drink too. So it's not just for irrigation. Water in the Middle East is very scarce commodity. Okay, it's scarcer in many ways than petroleum reserves. And basically what you're going to see as a result of this, yes?
Before you mentioned that Hulagu had like a good education, with like regular Mongol standards, besides for like war, what other education?
Okay, the fact of the matter that the mother of Hulagu was Christian and educated, taught him how to read and write. Even a brilliant man like Hulagu Khan didn't have mastery over that. In many ways, it's like a kind of a Mongol version of Charlemagne, a highly intelligent, adept person, but who happened to be illiterate. And he was fairly literate, and up to a point, he was open-minded, but he was still a kind of admixture of his mother and his father. He still had the martial ardor that his father had. He had to have that element, otherwise the Mongol armies wouldn't have respected him. Okay, remember that you're going to lead a Mongol army by being tough, by being callous, by being indifferent to your life. And if he was too soft, they wouldn't have accepted him. But generally speaking, compared to the illiterate Mongols, he was much more educated. It doesn't mean that he'd be the equivalent of a Rhodes Scholar. It means that he basically had some rudiments in reading and writing. Yes?
So explain irrigation channels and water. How are they surviving once they go through a stage?
We'll talk about that. I'll get to that. It's a very good question. You raise good questions, good comments. I'll address them as we go along.
Well, you say how are they surviving? They're destroying. They're just doing it to kill.
Yeah. Remember too that the Mongols are not sedentary agriculturists, so they don't have an appreciation for basically staying on the land to cultivate. What they basically were was pastoral nomads who lived off their herds. You get them to pasture, you get them to water sources, and when that's dried up or whatever, you move on. And then you basically make use of, in effect, all of your other resources to keep yourself going. Let me finish this. And you will cut up gaps or livestock or sheep. You'll dry the meat. You'll carry it with them like cowboys and Native Americans carry pemmican. You carry dried meats with you. You would basically take the milk of a mare and you would ferment it. That would be your kumas. You would use animal products and go on the hook with it, and you'd be in constant source of pasture and water. But the idea that you would settle near a water source and actually plant things, no. Mongolia didn't have the type of climate for that. It's very cold and very short growing. So it forced people to be hard and be in constant motion. The Mongols will adjust over time to the type of area that they live in, and their society will change. But it's going to be gradual. It's not going to be right. Says we don't let you money. Go ahead, Elsa.
I know that at one point Christianity actually influenced the Mongols from their evilness.
Not that you would have to eat Christians.
Right. But the fact that his mother was a Christian, that had no influence?
That did have influence. And that's one of the reasons why he was able to hit the Muslim Middle East with an increased sense of vigor. I think that, as I had mentioned before, and the type of Christianity that would take in would be the Nestorian version, which was considered heretical by the Roman Catholic Church back then. He basically saw the Muslims as apostates, okay? And there is influence there. It doesn't turn Hulagu into Christian. Okay.
Because I know it looks like that they come to look at their dynasty due to Christianity.
I'm sorry?
Christianity actually ends the dynasty of the Mongols because they eventually convert to Christian.
And to where?
The Mongols convert to Christianity.
Where did they do this?
I think remember the country of that.
Okay, okay. Some Mongols do adopt Christianity. There will be some. Some will do it in Russia. The majority of them, though, adopt Islam, and they'll be known as the Tatars. Okay. Basically, you do get a few Mongols that adopt Christianity. For the most part, more Mongols would adopt Islam. And I'll go into reasons why they could do that later. Generally speaking, when the Mongols attacked the Muslim world, the Catholic, the Christian West was, yay, we got ourselves an ally, you know, and they basically, in effect, tried to reach the Mongol court, hoping that, you know, of course, they'll get allies against the Infidale Muslims from the Mongols, and the Christian West is also looking for a great Christian king in Africa called Prester John, and basically, they're probably still looking for him. There was no Christian African king or monarch in West Africa. There was a Christian kingdom in Africa, but they were in the wrong area of Africa. They needed to go to Ethiopia, and even that would be under attack from the Muslim kingdom of Infidale. But I don't want to get off track. Generally speaking, the Mongols will take on Islam and Buddhism as well. Christianity more in select pockets, but we'll go over that in detail, okay? And I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Some of them did. Others, you know, stayed within the Islamic fold and basically looked for the Ottoman Empire later on to protect them. Before, of course, Peter the Great begins to turn Russia's eyes southward to war more towards the Black Sea. Now, with regards to the actual destruction of the irrigation system, because of this, there's going to be a substantial fall in population due not only to massacres, but also due to famines and epidemics. Okay? As you know, if a person is malnourished or they don't get good access to water or food, their resistance to disease will begin to break down. Okay? And because of the scarcity of food and water, people are malnourished, they're dying from famine, and they're dying from epidemics. Okay? Before I